Greetings, everybody. This is your Dungeon Master, Jose Suarez, talking to you about yesterday's game. We didn't have a large enough turnout for me to run the adventures I really wanted to run, so instead, I went back in time and took Edward Anderson and Maureen Anderson, plus another character for Joe David Cox, the Druid, father of Serial, through an origin story as to why they were in the dungeon from beforehand. It was a quick 2 hour session. There was a large group of people at the store for a Magic the Gathering unboxing or whatever you call it preview, and the volume was pretty high. And I didn't want to make anyone stay a little longer. It was totally on the fly, rolling dice to bring up passageways and things like that. Totally a homebrew situation that they were in. Nothing that I had planned, none of the monsters I had planned. The only thing that really occurred was something that Joe's seen before, but Ed and Maureen have not as of yet, which is in my campaigns, the undead keep the alignment that they had when they died. Undead is a curse upon them, not something that turns them into an evil creature. So, for instance, the Dwarven Kingdom that they ran across, they found its ruler, his bodyguards, and his army, along with most of his clan, still alive at the time. Or not alive, I should say, but alive as skeletal warriors of one branch or another. And then they were able to befriend them and spend some time with them, enough for a long rest to recover their wounds. I thought about setting them up against the monsters that I had thought to put against, but in reality, even if Joe had played Suriel and Dibble, his second cleric to Marine's cleric, and the wild mage sorceress, there still would have been no frontline fighters. And by that I mean not a monk, but barbarian or paladin or a fighter to handle the assaults that I was going to throw at them one way or the other. The two clerics would have been good for both of the items I had. The problem would have been how many of the undead would have rolled a successful saving throw against them. So I decided not to do that type of situation, but give them a chance to fight. I did throw some undead skeletal warriors that were not of good alignment against them, and Marine's cleric was able to turn and burn all but one of them, bringing a fight where it was 5 against 3 to 3 against 1. That skeleton did not last very long. It wasn't a very big experience points type adventure. The other ones I would have ran would have been much larger experience points per party member, but they each did pick up 3,000 each, which moves them along to their next level, considering they received 16,000 something the first 2 weeks ago. What I have decided to do is I'm no longer going to run a weekly campaign, since the two individuals that really wanted me to push for a weekly type of campaign haven't shown up in quite a while. And matter of fact, one of them was there with his little brother playing the Magic pre-release or the release, and purchasing new cards and the like there. So if I cannot have them consistently there, I don't know if I really want to run a weekly. I mean, I stretched myself thin this week at home with everything that I do when I get home in order to create a significant storyline for them and give them diverging opportunities to proceed, giving them multiple choice situations so that I don't railroad my party. This is a very deadly campaign. I'm actually surprised that the 3 individuals survived. But basically, the story goes like this: these are the 3 of the 5 members of the adventuring party that Ed and Maureen belonged to. The 2 others have already been captured, and they were in the dungeon trying to find their friends and rescue them. They had no idea at this point, up until later on in the episode that I ran for them, that there was a dragon afoot. It wasn't until a dwarven skeletal wizard was able to communicate through conversations, mental conversations, telepathic conversations with Joe's character, Edward's character, and Maureen's character, that it came across that, yeah, the dragon was there, and oh, by the way, he wasn't the little tiny dragon that the dwarves remember. He was a huge monstrosity. I haven't decided as to how long the dwarves have been in this state, but I'm going to go ahead and put the story point out that this has been a dwarven undead kingdom for about 2,500 years, 500 years less than the kingdom of the pharaoh out in the desert that they just had the other party had just come out of. Really, that's all I had for you. They had a blast. I introduced a couple of weirdo monsters to them from the Tome of Beasts, including an insecticide, chaotic evil insecticide that was just goading the party to open the next door, take your chances, open the next door, see if you can survive that. Ha 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 ha. It was actually kind of funny that they did, because that first encounter that they had after they opened the door was the 5 skeletons that Maureen just trashed, and it was hysterical to me because I played the raving lunatic of this insectoid going, oh, okay, well, the next door, over the next door, over the next door, didn't knowing that the Dwarven King would take a shining to these 3 individuals. And then to his great demise, of course, the dwarves got tired of his heckling and finished him off. He wasn't their prisoner, but he was a prisoner in their jail cell that was still alive where they were dead, so they kind of took offense to that. That's really all I have for you. I'm not going to be playing a game next week. I will no longer run a weekly. I'll go back to bi-weekly. So my next game will be the 5th of May. Ed and Maureen can't make it. They have other engagements that day, but I'm hoping we'll have a larger turnout based on what has turned out so far. I know Joe David will be there. We're going to try to talk Kendall to show up. The character that Joe played was actually Kendall's character he created for Kendall to play, should Kendall decide to show up to our games going forward. Anyway, I like the new format. I think it's pretty cool. Definitely 5th edition. I've got the name of the players. Whoa, oh, that way. Whoa, it's hard when you're doing it on the camera here to point to the correct direction. I have the campaign there. Okay, I got the fire giant over there. We haven't run across any giants yet. Well, we did one, but he wasn't that bad. And of course, Dungeons and Dragons below, and across the bottom, my Twitch handle and the address of the location we played. That's all I have for you today. Hopefully, we'll have a bigger turnout when we play again on the 5th, and we can continue on. Thank you much for your time, and see you when we see you. Oh, by the way, like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you choose to. Thank you.